In the vast deserts of Iraq, a ghost of an empire has been brought back to life. For over 2,000 years, one of Alexander the Great's final, most ambitious cities was little more than a whisper in ancient texts. Its location was a mystery, its streets buried, its legacy nearly erased by time and sand. But now, its secrets are being unearthed without a single shovel touching the ground. This is Charax Spasinou. And this is the story of how cutting-edge technology revealed a forgotten metropolis, exposing the secrets of ancient trade in the last days of an empire. The legend and the mystery. Every great discovery starts with a legend. And this one begins with maybe the most legendary figure of all, Alexander the Great. It's 324 BCE. Alexander is at the height of his power, having forged an empire that stretched from Greece to India. But he knew that military might alone doesn't hold an empire together. You need commerce. You need infrastructure. You need cities. During one of his final expeditions, Alexander started founding a string of new cities, each designed to be a beacon of Greek culture and an economic hub. One of the very last was built in what is now southern Iraq, a strategic jewel placed at the confluence of the Tigris and Karen rivers, the Karen being the river known in antiquity as the Euleus. The city, first named Alexandria, was meant to secure control over the vital trade routes of Mesopotamia. It was where the river met the sea, and where east met west. Alexander even settled his Macedonian veterans here, battle-hardened soldiers now tasked with building a new home. But Alexander's vision was fragile. Just a year later, in 323 BCE, he was dead. His vast empire fractured, and his new city of Alexandria faced a different threat, the very rivers that gave it life. Devastating floods washed over the settlement, nearly wiping it off the map. For a while, it seemed the city was doomed to be a forgotten footnote in history. And yet, it refused to die. It was rebuilt by Alexander's successors, the Seleucids, who knew just how valuable its location was. One of their kings, an Antiochus, reconstructed the city, giving it his own name, Antiochia, and building massive embankments to protect it from the floods. Later, around 141 BCE, a local ruler named Hyspaosines took control, fortified it even further, and gave it the name it would carry for centuries, Charax Spasinou, the palisaded fort of Hyspaosines. Under this new name, the city didn't just survive, it thrived. It became the capital of the small but wealthy kingdom of Charax, a bustling trade hub linking the Roman world with Parthia, Arabia, and India. The Roman historian Pliny the Elder wrote about it, describing its impressive fortifications. Coins minted in Charax Spasinou have been found across the ancient world, proof of its commercial reach. Even the Roman Emperor Trajan visited in 116 CE during his eastern campaigns, seeing the port where ships set sail for the distant shores of India. But empires fall, and trade routes shift. The rivers that had been the city's lifeblood began to silt up, leaving the port high and dry. The rise of the Sasanian Empire in the 3rd century CE changed the political landscape, and the city's importance faded. Slowly, Charax Spasinou was abandoned. The desert sands reclaimed the land. Its mud brick walls crumbled, its streets disappeared, and its markets fell silent. For more than 1,200 years, the city of Alexander, Antiochus, and Hyspaosines was truly lost, its exact location a puzzle for scholars. The desert kept its secret well. The modern-day quest for centuries, the search for Charax Spasinou was stuck in libraries, a mess of conflicting historical accounts. A physical search was pretty much impossible. The suspected location, near the modern border of Iraq and Iran, was a region rocked by decades of conflict. During the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, the area became a militarized zone, making any real archaeological work out of the question. Still, there were hints. Back in the 1960s, a researcher named John Hansman was studying old Royal Air Force aerial photos when he noticed the faint outline of a huge, walled enclosure. It was a tantalizing glimpse, a ghost on a photograph, but the political situation made it impossible to follow up. The lead went cold for 50 years. The quest finally picked up again as the security situation in southern Iraq began to improve. Starting around 2014, an international team of archaeologists, working with Iraqi heritage officials, was able to get back to the site handsmen had spotted. What they found was staggering. What just looked like a low ridge in the flat desert plain was actually the remains of a massive city wall, in some places still standing 8 meters high. This was no small fort, this was the footprint of a major city. But how do you explore a site this massive, buried under centuries of earth, in a region where digging is still a challenge? The answer wasn't in shovels, but in the sky. The team went high-tech, using a non-invasive strategy to see beneath the ground without ever digging. First, they sent up the drones. Flying in systematic patterns, the drones captured thousands of high-resolution photos. Through a process called photogrammetry, these images were stitched together into an incredibly detailed 3D model of the terrain. This digital map revealed subtle dips and rises in the ground, clues to the buildings buried below. It also let them map the surface scatter, the spread of pottery and brick fragments across a vast landscape, hinting at the true scale of ancient activity. Next came the real game changer, the magnetometer. Archaeologists and geophysicists, like Professor Charax Spasinou, walked the site with these sophisticated sensors. A magnetometer measures tiny variations in the Earth's magnetic field. Ancient human activity leaves magnetic traces. A mud brick wall, a paved street, or a kiln for firing pottery all have a different magnetic signature than the soil around them. As the team scanned the ground, the magnetometer recorded these anomalies, creating a magnetic map of what lay just beneath the surface. In just 8 days, they scanned a massive 90,000 square meters, a painstaking process of walking back and forth, letting the technology peer through the veil of time. They were digitally resurrecting the city, pixel by pixel. The aha moment, the discovery. In every great discovery, there's a moment where everything clicks. For the team at Charax Spasinou, it wasn't the clang of a shovel hitting stone, but the quiet hum of a computer. As the data from the drones and the magnetometers was layered together, a picture began to emerge on their screens. At first, it was a mess of lines and magnetic signals. But as the software processed the data, the chaos began to take shape. And then, there it was. The aha moment. What appeared on the screen wasn't random. It was an organized, coherent, and undeniably man-made structure. The faint outlines of buried mud brick walls snapped into focus. Straight lines became wide streets, intersecting at right angles in a perfect Hellenistic grid. Large rectangular shapes emerged, massive housing blocks, temples, and public buildings. They were looking at a city. A complete city, laid out beneath their feet, its form perfectly preserved in the data. The scale of it was breathtaking. This digital map revealed a meticulously planned metropolis. The drone data had shown him the massive defensive wall. Now the magnetometer was taking him inside, revealing the city's lifeblood. They could see the main streets that would have bustled with merchants, soldiers, and citizens. Even more amazing, they could identify specific districts. One area revealed exceptionally large housing blocks, suggesting a wealthy residential zone. In another, the magnetometer signals were off the charts, the telltale signs of intense heat. This was a dense concentration of kilns and workshops, the city's industrial heart, where goods were manufactured for trade. They had found the engine room of Charax Spasinou's economy. The team could now digitally walk the streets of a city lost for over a millennium. They could trace the paths of canals that once fed a bustling harbor, see the foundations of monumental buildings, and measure the dimensions of its neighborhoods. This wasn't just a discovery, it was a resurrection. They had achieved in months what would have taken decades of traditional digging, all while preserving the site for the future. The legend of Charax Spasinou was a legend no more. It was a real place, with streets and houses and a story to tell, finally brought back into the light. Unveiling the secrets with the digital ghost of Charax Spasinou now visible, archaeologists could start interpreting its long and complex history. And the data revealed a story of ambition, resilience, and incredible economic power. First, there was the sheer scale of Alexander's original vision. The city was planned from the start as a major metropolis, meant to project Greek power and anchor a new network of global trade. The discovery puts Alexander's final years in a new light, showing his focus on long-term economic strategy. But the city's story is also one of amazing resilience. The surveys didn't just show one city, but layers of history. The data revealed different orientations in the street grid, clear evidence of the city being destroyed by floods and rebuilt. First as Antiochia, with its massive flood embankments clearly visible in the terrain models, and later as Charax Spasinou. It's hard evidence of how ancient people adapted to their environment, refusing to let nature wash away the creation. Perhaps the most profound secrets, though, were about the city's role as a commercial powerhouse. The magnetometer data brought its economy to life. The huge industrial zones suggest Charax Spasinou wasn't just a stop along the trade route, it was a major production center. On the ground, surface surveys confirmed it, turning up artifacts like bitumen-lined pottery, likely for shipping liquids, and countless ceramic shards. It all paints a picture of a dynamic, multi-ethnic marketplace. Goods from the Mediterranean arrived by river, traded for spices from India, incense from Arabia, and silks from the East. The city was a melting pot where Greek, Persian, Babylonian, and Arab merchants haggled in the markets. Its long prosperity challenges the old idea that Greek culture simply faded away after Alexander's empire fell. Instead, Charax shows us a story of integration, where different cultures blended to create something new and vibrant. This rediscovery even gives new context to small historical details. We can almost picture the Roman Emperor Trajan visiting in 116 CE, looking out from the city's port toward India. The digital reconstruction of the harbor and canals shows exactly how this city plugged into the vast Indian Ocean trade network, a key node in the ancient world's first truly global economy. The rediscovery of Charax Spasinou is a huge leap forward in how we explore the past. Deep in the Iraqi desert, a city lost for over 1,200 years was mapped in stunning detail, not with shovels, but with light and magnetism. We now have a clearer window into the final ambitions of Alexander the Great, the complex web of ancient global trade, and the powerful story of human resilience. The story of Charax Spasinou is a powerful reminder that the ground beneath our feet is like a library, filled with stories waiting to be read. And for the first time, we have the technology to read those stories without destroying the book. This approach preserves these irreplaceable sites, allowing them to be studied for generations while revealing their secrets to us now. For every lost city we find, countless others are still out there, their walls and streets silent beneath the earth. The whispers of forgotten empires are all around us. And the rediscovery of Charax Spasinou makes you wonder, what other secrets are just waiting to be found? If you were captivated by this story of discovery, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We have many more journeys into the past to share with you, uncovering some of the greatest mysteries of history. Thanks for watching.